Welcome back to Disturbing the Main Team. I am Cannon Gates, the station manager for WZMB. We got Nick Green, the news and sports director, JT Lee, the music director, and welcome, give me a drum roll, Nick Green, give me a drum roll, our production director, Bryce Lewis.
Hey! Hi, Pookies. Hello. Y'all heard me on my show on Fridays, okay? My It's a Bee thing. Yes, I'm production manager now. I love my videography things, y'all know. Acting major, journalism major. I love my social media, all the things. We're trying to get the Instagram to be popping. I really hope.
And we will.
Yes, we will. We are going to. It's going to be beautiful. You know, I'm a Canva warrior, so trust, it's going to be real aesthetic. Get excited, ladies. All right, that's all I got.
She does it all, folks, as you can tell. She does it all. So we're going to hop right on into our first Disturbing the Main Team podcast for this fall semester, and we're going to go into something that JT was saying before it. He's been getting into a little bit too much lately. Overthinking. We're going to let the very own Nick Green start us off. Nick Green, tell us how you overthink, what you overthink. Tell us anything, what you want to tell us, Nick.
Absolutely. So I think this is a great topic because I think this is something that, you know, whether we want to admit it or not, we all kind of struggle with this. At some point in our lives, we're going to have a point in time where we're going to overthink something. It could be something small or something big, you know, and it's a matter of how do you handle that. I think the biggest thing you need to do when you're overthinking, first of all, the problem is probably not as big as what it's something you don't need to stress too much about. It could be something very stressful that you need to put some kind of effort into, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something where you put all your time and effort into it, where it takes over your life. That's the big thing. You cannot let anything take over your life. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be that serious to where it takes over your entire life. Whether that be a school assignment, a school project, or whatever, you can always retake a class. You can always redo something. You don't need to make your whole life this and worry too much about this where you can't enjoy the simple things. I think that's going to be number one. Take some deep breaths. Breathing exercise is going to be huge there, just to kind of keep yourself in a calm mental state. And don't forget to take breaks. Like, I know it could be stressful, and you probably don't want to take too many breaks, but you do need some breaks in there in order to keep yourself on a good mental playing field. Because if you're not on a good mental playing field, you're not going to put forth a good quality product to begin with, just to end with. So there's a lot of things you can do. That's some things that I like to do whenever I'm overthinking something like that, though.
Wise words from our very own Nick Green. JT, tell us what you got.
All right, so where my overthinking is coming from, basically, we started school back. It's junior year, very hectic time of the year as, you know, I guess you're still considered an underclassman, but basically hitting that upperclassman realm of things. But it really just comes with, I think, everything I'm juggling now with school and work. I mean, exams. I had 2 exams on the same day last year, and that, I mean, obviously, lots of studying there. And then also, like, you know, having to put in work, too. You're not just doing school, you're also doing work and stuff. So it's easy to, like, overthink things. And, like, it's like, oh, I got to get this done, but how am I going to do that? And you can get in your head about it. But I think what I'm realizing from everything picking up from, you know, a busy schedule, as I'm sure a lot of y'all out there have a lot of busy schedule, you have a busy schedule yourself, is kind of just planning things out ahead of time, I think. Just like creating a schedule, and this also goes back to what we talked about earlier in a podcast, time management, with, you know, maybe on your, like, marking down on your calendar when you need to get things done and creating time during that day to get things done, staying on track with that. I think that's very key there. And also going back into what you said with effort. And I think that's a big thing as well. But also with effort, maybe not overthink things and just put in as much effort as you can possible. Because as long as you do your best at something, I mean, you really can't fail. Because, I mean, you did your very best. And there's nothing more you can ask for from that. So I think that as well. And I liked also, Nick, what you said about, you know, just taking time to sit back and take a breather real quick. You know, just like, maybe even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you just sit back and relax, it could really change the whole outlook of your day and just, you know, a great refresher just to rejuvenate yourself to just keep going and get everything done that you need to ultimately.
Tell them, boy, Bryce. Let's see what you got.
Okay, this is actually something that I've talked about a lot on my show, so this is super funny for a first topic. I actually, like, one of my main goals when starting this semester was to try to overthink less and be more present because I am in a program here that's extremely competitive, and it makes it really hard to like stay present as a performer, as a student, as a person, and not like constantly compare yourself to people. It kind of thrives on that comparison, and that makes it really difficult. So I had like talked a big game before classes started, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna prioritize joy. I'm just gonna have a fun time. I'm here for myself. Like it's not about the teachers. It's not about my peers. It's about me and my education. And I started my first like 2 days of classes, and literally after like literally my first class, which was a dance class, I was freaking out. I was so in my head the whole time. I left it and I was literally bawling my eyes out. Had to call my mom. I was like, I'm going back. I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to start over. Like that was terrible, even though I loved the class. And so what I try to be like mindful of, because I'm still taking those classes and still with the same classmates, and obviously you can't fix this problem overnight, is like the parts of me that are saying these things, that are overthinking, like, oh my gosh, I didn't just do that time step and double, triple flat ball change correctly, and everybody else in the class just did it, and that's why I didn't get catch, and that's why I didn't do this. Hey, the reason why like our brains do these things is because we care, is because we're invested. Otherwise, fear would not exist. Like it's our brain's way of protecting ourselves from disappointment or from perhaps a negative experience we've had in the past. And so I try to like acknowledge that side of it of like, oh, my brain is trying to do something nice for me right now. Unfortunately, it's wrong. So I'm going to tell it, hey, we need to do something else. What this person is doing over here, how successful somebody is next to me, does not change anything about my success or what I'm here to do. And I'm just trying to stay positive, trying to stay present. I make my lists, like you said, JT. Yeah. I'm going to make like 12 lists a day. I'm going to keep everything in line because then if your like space is clear and your mind is clear, you're not going to spend as much time like dogging on yourself for something that you feel like you did wrong or you messed up or you didn't do on time and da-da-da-da. I think mindfulness is the most important thing. Like I'm trying to be on that wellness grind for real.
Yeah, no, for me, I'd say a lot of mine is not have to do as much with like classes or anything. It's more just like people, because I never really like feeling like a bad guy even though I'm not doing anything wrong. And I think a lot of that stems from just like thinking that I need to make everyone happy with myself. Whenever sometimes that's just not gonna happen, and then makes it, I don't do it as much as like I know other people do, but it's more is making it you not be true to yourself and maybe not going for what you want to do or what you believe in, whether that be making new friends with girls, whatever it might be. I feel like that definitely can go to a certain thing. But mine's definitely not as much school. And then when it comes to like work and stuff, like balancing schedules, maybe putting too much on myself and then overthinking on that. Like, am I doing too much? Am I not? Like, that's my thing as much. Like, school, it doesn't really bother me as much just because I would say, like, I just know what when I want to get done, what I want to do, and I don't worry too much about what's going to happen in this one class or what's going to happen in this, because I know that I'll be fine by the end of the day. It's just not. I try not to put too much of it on myself, but I definitely do it. And that's, I think, that just stems from like growing up. You never. It's like I said earlier, you don't want to do anything, and then being told what to do when you're younger. I think some of that has to do with some of that, but. Do any of you three have anything else left you want to say about it? Yeah, all three of you. Perfect.
I couldn't. I think he's well said, Cannon. Like, very well said. Very wise words from you. I think socially, I think this is where you notice it the most in people. Now, obviously, I think I started with talking about class stuff, because let's keep it real. If you ask me about socially, how do I handle this? It's not well. So I was like, let me not talk about this because I'm not good at this. I know where I know my strengths and weaknesses. That's not one of my strengths. We're talking about overthinking with socially. That's definitely one of my weaknesses. It goes back to kind of what Bryce said earlier about like what people think about you. It's something people, as much as we want to say it doesn't affect us, it's going to affect everybody at some point. People are worried about what other people think about themselves. And that's part of kind of what we're doing too. We do put ourselves out there trying to get people to build a fan base, not in a fan base, maybe not, but like build like a reputation here, so that way you can go off and do something else. But I mean, it's tough for sure. And like I said, when you talk about socially, I'm probably not the most qualified person to answer this because I'm horrible at it. I will be straight up about that. I'm terrible with it. In terms of overthinking and stuff like that. I mean, you just got to be yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. Be yourself. The right people are going to like you for yourself. If not, well, I mean, it's best to them, and that's just kind of the end of it for me. Easier said than done, I'm well aware, but that's kind of my final thoughts on it.
And to go off of that, like I feel like, speaking of like being yourself and all, I feel like for me that's always been a big motive in my life, is to always be myself and like kind of project who I am. Like I know I'm loud, like I'm I'm loud, talk too much, like this and that. But the thing is, that also like makes me who I am and like what I'm pursuing. So I should not be mad about that. I should utilize that. And so I think that's really important. Like stuff people might tell you like, oh, you're too loud, like you do this, you do that, but they're just might not be on the same wavelength as you. You know what I mean? But right. The thing is, we're all different. We all have our own things. So I say that like, embrace your differences and utilize that. Because I think anyone that did something just amazing and big, they didn't do it off of just maybe like, you take inspiration. I wouldn't say they copied someone. They took inspiration from them, but they did it because they were true to themselves and they really created their own brand from that. So I think it is really important to do that. And another point I did want to touch on overthinking is I think with overthinking, and this can go socially as well, and like with school, social, whatever it might be, is procrastination. I think that's a big thing with overthinking, and I think that's where I fall, because with school it's like, oh, I need to study so hard for this exam, but then what am I doing here? I'm over procrastinating, rather when I should just go ahead and do it, get it done, and just be pleased with how I do and just try my hardest. And I think, and like that also goes with, don't put stuff off either. Just if you have the time to do something and get something done, go ahead and just do it, because you'll feel better in the long run about that, and that just kills the overthinking and over procrastination itself. So
one last quote from me before I hand it over. You brought something up. Yeah. Success comes from outside your comfort zone.
Exactly.
True.
That's right.
Okay, Nick Green.
Wise words by Nick Green.
That's right.
Play-Doh on us. Okay, so with the socially part, now this is going to be actually one of my biggest struggles for sure, because I tend to internalize it. And so I know that in the moment when I'm with my friends and the people who love me, I overthink a lot about every interaction I have with these people, even though I literally hang out with them constantly. There's a lot of thoughts there, I think, of like, because I am loud, I am big, I am all of these very specific things that make up my personality. And I know that that's why like the people around me choose to be around me, but it's hard to think, hey, it makes me a little difficult to be around. And that's where it's like, man, what if I just could be a little quieter or keep my room a little warmer so that these people, and then I need, if my friends are going to come hang out, like I need to have the right amount of food so that they want to hang out with me, and if I have the right setup and da-da-da-da. And my problem is that I try to like think these things through, and I'm very analytical. And so I'm like, okay, here's all of my thoughts laid out. I literally will even write them down sometimes, because you have to get them out. Otherwise you sit there in this like spiral. And I'll write them down, and I'll be like, okay, here's the solvable things, and here's the not rational things. And I know that my friends even are like, hey, like, why don't you just voice these things instead of thinking them through in your head and analyzing them in your head and trying to find a way to deal with them. So this is like genuinely something I'm like actively been trying to work on and like look within myself. I'm on that therapy grind. All healthy people should be in therapy. Every single person who's at this table should go to therapy, and every person listening should go to therapy, because it makes you a better person and a smarter person. It makes you treat people better. Thank you. I'm getting off that soapbox now. I think the biggest thing that fights overthinking is, number one, being yourself, but number two is like letting people show you that they know who you are and that they appreciate who you are. And taking all interactions, this is something actually that's in an acting class of mine, is like taking all interactions that you have with other people, including strangers, at face value and choosing to view them as positive interactions, not choosing to go back later and say, oh, well, that person probably only told me that I looked good because they actually wanted to trick me into thinking this. just say that person told me I looked good and that felt really good and I did look good. And so you have to kind of actively reframe all interactions to be something positive for yourself, like radical positivity. And that kind of gets rid of all of the problems, I feel like. It makes you more confident. And then slowly but surely, maybe you'll overthink a little less.
There we go.
Anybody else got any final words?
I think I'm good now.
Embrace your differences.
Yes.
Embrace hashtag be different. Hashtag
There you go, boy. Well, that's going to be it from this episode of Disturbing the Main Team.
I'm Nick Green.
I'm JT DJJ Love.
Oh, I'm Bryce Lewis.
And I'm Cannon Gates. Y'all have a good one.
Go Pirates.